Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome if you are new. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get right into today's video. So I have a new polygel kit I'm going to be reviewing. This is a new company. I haven't worked with them yet. I'm not even going to start to pronounce the name because I know I'm going to mispronounce it. But as you can see, here is the polygel kit. I really love the packaging. It's super pretty and it's purple. Purple is my favorite color. Here is the back of the box. It's very simple, and this is one of my longer videos, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm just going to go ahead and get into unboxing this kit. So let's go ahead and take the top off of the box. Once I have done so, the first thing I see are these instructions, and then at the bottom you also get some tips and tricks. And this is how everything looks in the kit. So far it does seem to come with everything that you would need to do polygel nails, but let's go ahead and break everything down and show you individually. And I did want to mention just right quick that I am literally just waking up. I overslept. Usually I wake up like a little bit earlier to do my voiceovers, but I slept in a little bit longer. So hopefully it get better throughout the video. If not, I'm so sorry. But the first thing we get in this kit is a little mini lamp, and then we also get some dual forms. I'm not really a big fan of dual forms, but here is how they look if you are interested in getting this kit. They are the flat ones. The next thing we get in this kit is a 180 grit nail file, and then we also get a polygel brush. I was struggling to get this brush out, so I got my scissors and kind of just lifted it up on the sides. But here is how the polygel brush looks. It's pretty regular, pretty standard. It looks like any other brush. It has the brush on one side and the spatula on the other. The next thing in the kit is a 30 ml bottle of slip solution. Now me personally, I don't like to go for the slip solution that comes in the kit. I like to use 91% ice purple alcohol, but whatever works for you, that's totally fine. Then next we get, of course, the base and top coat. These bottles are 8 ml. So now getting into the polygels, we have 7 15 ml tubes of polygel. I'm just briefly going to show the polygels because I am going to swatch them in a few seconds. So yeah, looking at everything that comes in this polygel kit, it seems to be everything that you need to do polygel nails, except for the dual forms. I know a lot of people like to use like nail tips or full cover nails, because I'm not a fan of dual forms myself. So that would be the only thing that you would have to like change if you don't like to use dual forms. Now on to the swatches. All of these polygels did come sealed to prevent the leakage in the packaging. And now I'm just going to show the colors up close, and then I'm also going to swatch them. I just think swatching polygels are so fun, as well as acrylics too. This kit did have a few of the basic colors, the colors people use all the time, like the white, nude, and clear. Then it also came with some glitter colors. The glitters are very interesting. They kind of reminded me of the glitters that I got from Etsy in those little gel pots. I took all of them out, and I absolutely forgot about this last color. I knew there was like 7 colors, but I just could not figure out where it went to. It was underneath the box, but here are the colors once I have swatched them, and the clear is looking really clear. I'm always excited to test out the clears. I did pop them into the light for 30 seconds. Here's how they look. The clear did get a little bit foggy. It has like a yellowish tint to it, but I'm still excited to see how it looks once I encapsulate my nails. Now moving on to my nail quote-unquote prep. I put the quotations around the prep because this is not how you would usually prep your nails. This is just a peel off method because I don't plan on wearing these nails. But as always, I'm going to go in and put a layer of my UNT peel off base coat. I got this from Amazon, which is currently unavailable. I'm not sure why, but I let that completely dry, which usually takes about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Once I have allowed that to dry, I'm going to go over that with a layer of the base coat that came from the kit, and then I'm just going to cure my nails. One thing I don't really like about these lights are that you can't really fit all of your nails underneath, but I did flip my hand over like this just to kind of give all of them a cure at once. And it doesn't have a time setting, but I'm pretty sure it goes up for about 1 minute. Once I have allowed them to completely cure, I am wiping them off with some icy purple alcohol to glue on my nail tips. The nail tips I'm going to be using are the 3XL coffin tips from AliExpress, which I've already have picked out. And I'm going to be applying these with my makartt brush on glue. I absolutely love this glue. It dries really fast. After making sure all of the nails are straight and none of them are crooked, I'm going to take my nail tip cutter. I got this from one of my tip kits. I'm not sure which one, but I'm just going to clip them down to my desired length. I still wanted these to be long, so I'm not going to do too much clipping, but I put the cuticles side by side and I just measure them like that, slowly clipping down until they're all the same size. You don't want to clip too much because you can't go back from that. So I just clip a little bit at a time until all of them are the same length. And once I finish, this is how they look. I really love these tips because even when you cut them, they have the perfect shape and like you don't have to do filing. So now that I got the nails clipped down, I'm going to be taking my Canon nail drill from Melanie Susie. I love this drill. I'm going to be using my mandrel drill bit and a sanding band just to blend in the tips with my natural nail. When doing this step, I had to be careful so that I don't file away my peel off base coat and the base coat on my natural nail. And when doing this, you always want to make sure to have your nail drill parallel with your nail. I always used to mess this up, and I used to try to angle like the tip of the drill down on the nail tip, which would create indents in my nail, and you can literally see them like as my nail grow, you can see them like go down my nail. That was always something I struggled with, and I just kind of finally got the technique of doing it. So once I have that blended in all of the tips, I'm gonna take some alcohol and remove all of that dust. And now I'm going back in with the base coat, and I'm gonna be putting a layer over all of my nails. Usually I would just focus this on my natural nail and like a little bit below where the nail tip meets, but I'm gonna do the entire nail because I am gonna have encapsulated clear nails at the tips. So I wanted these to be as clear as possible. And of course I'm just going to cure them in the light for 30 seconds. Or a minute, however long the light goes, and then I'm just wiping them off with some alcohol again. For the Polygel application, I decided to go with skin tone and clear. Like I said, I'm always excited to test out the clears, so I wanted to do some encapsulated nails. And I picked out the nude color because I did want to do some French tips. All of my nails are going to be French tips except the thumb and the ring finger. So to start off my smile line, I just put a bead of this nude color onto my nail bed. And I am using some 91% icy purple alcohol. I did totally forget about the slip solution that was in the kit, but alcohol works fine for me. So I'm just I start by pushing the polygel up towards the cuticle area and get that right first, and then I just bring down my smile line. The consistency of this polygel was in between stiff and soft. It was soft around the cuticle area because I did have to keep wiping that, but once I fixed the smile line, it didn't really move as much. Although compared to what I'm used to, this polygel was more on the softer side, just being compared to like makartt's polygel, because I really love makartt's polygel. Overall, it was really good and it was manageable. It wasn't too runny. It was definitely manageable. I think I'm pretty decent when it comes to smile lines. I do have a little bit more work to be done. Sometimes my smile lines aren't really centered and it kind of throw off the design. Nails by Vic does amazing smile lines. Anytime she does French tips with polygel, I'm just watching like, how does she get these smile lines so perfect? So yeah, I do have a little bit of work to do. I did cure that for a minute with the light, and then I went back over with another little coat just so I can build up the thickness to the polygel. Because once I finish adding the smile lines on, I'm going to be reshaping them, and if the polygel isn't thick enough, it will be difficult to file. So I did cure that, and now I'm moving on to my middle finger. So just repeating that process, I put a bead of polygel onto my nail bed, and then I push it up towards the cuticle first. And the way I make my smile lines is I pat the polygel down until I get like at the end of my nail, like the side walls of my nails. I stop there, and then I start to bring the polygel in towards the tip so I can create that oval smile line. And then I use the side, like the body of my brush, to kind of get that shape. If the smile lines doesn't turn out perfectly, that's perfectly fine. Like I said, I will go back in and reshape them just to kind of crispen them up just a little bit. And I'm just making sure they are the same length, same size, and I'm just going to be finishing up the smile lines. I'm also going to repeat this on my pinky nail as well, and then I'm going to cure in between each layer, building that up in thickness. The skin tone shade is such a pretty nude, And if you are interested in checking out this kit, all of the information will be in the description box. I'm not sure if I have a discount code for this particular brand yet, but if so, it will be linked down below. I did just go ahead and repeat that on the pinky nail, doing 2 coats, curing for a minute in between each layer. For my ring finger, I'm going to do a full coverage of this nude color, and the application for this nail went by so easily, so I'm going to take the time to explain how I do it, which is pretty simple. So as you saw, I just take a polygel and squeeze on a line going down the center of the nail. I dip my brush into the alcohol and then I just pat, literally only doing pat motions. I do go over like the sides, and that is just to keep the polygel from going underneath the nail, but the entire time I'm only patting this polygel over the entire surface. And that's why I like stiffer polygels, because softer polygels wouldn't be able to stay in place if you would just pat the entire time. And softer polygel just reminds me of like a builder gel. I'm not really a fan of that like soft. So yeah, I just pat the entire time, spreading the polygel over the entire surface. I do wipe on the sides just to keep it in shape. Keeping it shaped with the nail helps so much with the shaping and filing in the end. So yeah, that's just what I do. And once I get it over the entire nail, I just go over the surface and to smooth it out, and then I also go around the cuticle area to make sure it's not on the skin. And then once I complete all of those steps, it looks pretty decent and smooth. I go ahead and cure this, and I'm going to be adding another layer doing the exact same thing. For the new people who have come to watch me, or if you just need a tutorial on polygel application, I really hope this helps. It helps me a lot, and it helps control the polygel, get it to stay in place. Also make sure to use a stiffer polygel if that works for you, because I know it works for me. But yeah, try those methods if you are struggling to do application with polygel, and come back to let me know, or you can DM me on Instagram. Make sure you are following me, or you guys can comment if you want a more in-depth video on how to apply the polygel and how to get it smooth, how to like just tips and tricks with polygel. Comment that down below, and if there are enough comments, I will do a video once I'm caught up on my PR. But I did go ahead and cure the first layer, and I'm just going over with a second layer to build this up. When I do solid nails like this with polygel, I do like to use the exact color to build it up, because it would just be a waste of time for me to go over with a thin layer and then encapsulate. So I just like to do like a quick boom and have the nail done, because polygel is easier to build up than acrylic. So yeah, I just like to do 2 coverage of the color and then just file and shape everything like that. Once I'm done smoothing this layer out, I am going to cure with my mini light, and then I'm also going to repeat this on my thumb. As you can see here, the nail did turn out really smooth. I'm really liking how it looks, so I'm not gonna mess this nail up, because I did hit a few of my nails with the little cord and I had to fix them off camera, but I'm not gonna mess this up. I did go ahead and cure that for a minute or two, and then I repeated that on my thumb like I said. So this is what we are working with so far. And now I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and some isopropyl alcohol to cleanse the nails. Now that I am done with the nude color, I'm going to be reshaping and crisping up my smile lines. So I'm going to make sure to wipe off the tacky layer before I go into file. And then I'm just going to take the hand file that was provided in the kit, and I'm just going to be reshaping these smile lines to get them crisping up. So when doing smile lines and you do go in to reshape them, you want to make sure that they are thick enough to file, because instead of adding the pressure like towards the nail tip, you want to add it towards the side of the polygel, and that process can be very difficult if the polygel isn't thick enough. And you don't want to add too much pressure towards the tip of the nail, because you can cause it to break. or you can thin it out too much. So I just do that the entire time, fixing up the smile lines. And y'all got, like, you see these little ridges here on the nail file. It wasn't really like getting that like straight smooth filing. I'm not sure how to explain it, but I did switch over to my 88 grit nail file from Pana. Like the little ridges, it just wasn't like connecting with all of the spots I needed to. I really hope that makes sense. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue filing the smile line. I did go ahead and repeat this over all of the nails. During the process, I did wipe away some of the dust so I can see exactly where I'm at, because I didn't want to over file or have this nail or have the smile line crooked. So I did wipe that and continue filing. I'm gonna repeat that over all of these smile line nails. So I did decide to do a glitter ombre for this nail. I'm going to be taking this red Valentine's Day glitter. It's called Be Mine. I'm not sure where I got this from. It's been in my glitters. I want to say it came from like a mystery box or something, because I haven't purchased any like separate glitters. I'm just going to pour some of this out so it will be easier to get to. It's a really pretty glitter mixture of medium-sized glitters and some heart sequences. To create the glitter ombre, I'm taking a base or top coat, one of the two. I'm not sure which one I picked up, but to give these glitters something to stick to, I'm just putting some of that on the nail tip where I want the glitters to be. I'm gonna make the glitters like really opaque around the cuticle area, and then I'm gonna fade them down into clear. So I didn't really put a lot of the base coat on the tip of the nail because I didn't want it to be like a lot there. So I'm just going to be placing on these glitters, and I did go in and take some of these smaller red glitters. These glitters are from the modelones advent calendar. I went in with these finer, smaller size glitters because as I was adding the medium sized glitters, I realized they weren't small enough to get into those like really spots to fill in the entire nail. And like I said, I did want this to be really opaque around the smile line, so I wanted to fill in as much of that space as possible. And then it was easier also to just ombre the smaller glitters down into the clear, that way it wasn't too much glitter. So once I finish getting that ombre, I'm going to cure this in place. This nail design wasn't really supposed to be a Valentine's Day nail set, but since I was using these glitters with those pretty hearts, I did make sure to add at least one of the hearts into the nail. I didn't want to get carried away and add too many because it would have been difficult to encapsulate. So once I finish adding on the glitters, before I cure, I do dip my brush in some alcohol just to remove the glitters on the smile line, because once I cure this in place and encapsulate it, I can't go back and fix it. So before I even do any of that, I'm just going to make sure that there are no glitters on my smile line. Once I cure those in place, I'm just going to be repeating this to all of the other French tip nails. I did leave the process of me adding the glitters to all 3 of my nails in the video. I know this is going to be a long video, and I always struggle to like not make my video so long, and this video is 42 minutes. I do apologize if you don't want to sit here that long, but if you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen my story yesterday. I did put up a story, and it took me like 5 hours to do this nail set, and I was just editing the video and thinking it took me so long, it would just not make sense to sit down that long and just to edit everything out. So I did leave quite a bit in. You will get a taste of everything, like the glitters, the encapsulation, the filing, the shaping, all of that. And of course I will be doing a lot of bling at the end, but feel free to go in the settings like at the lower corner, the lower right corner of the video, and speed it up if you don't want to sit here that long. I don't mind it at all. I did leave quite a bit in, and this is one of my longer videos. So once I finish adding on the glitters, I'm gonna cure each nail in place, and then I'll be back to encapsulate the nails. After curing all of my glitter ombres in place, this is how they are looking. And honestly, I really love this glitter ombre. Like, I love how it fades. I feel like the ombre, like the fade down to the clear, is so perfect. So it was really good that I took out those little finer glitters because they really helped. When I add glitters to my nails, I do like to go over them with a base coat, but in this case, since I am going to be encapsulating and I do have quite a bit of glitters, I am just kind of floating the base coat over the glitters just to kind of seal them in before I go in with the polygel, because sometimes if you don't seal these in or add a layer of protection on top of them, the polygel can get them to move around. Since the polygel is like very thick, like it can stick to the polygel and make them move. So I am floating this over like a builder gel, and the reason for floating this over and adding so much is because I do have a lot of glitters, like I mentioned, and it just helps the glitters to prevent being stuck to my brush. Once I do all of these nails like this, I am going to cure them in place and then go over with the clear polygel to encapsulate. Now it's time to encapsulate the nails. I'm just focusing the clear polygel on the glitters, of course, because that is the main part that needs to be encapsulated. Since the new part of my nails wasn't as thick as I would like to, I did go over that with the clear polygel as well. I really love the consistency of this clear polygel. Compared to the new color, it was a lot more on the stiffer side, which you guys know I really like. I am using 91% isopropyl alcohol as my slip solution. I'm only going to show one of my nails encapsulating, which I did speed up because of course the video is already long as it is. So I'm only going to be showing one nail. The overall process of encapsulating the nails, it went by really quick just because the polygel was very easy to work with. I had no problems with it. So I'm just going to finish this nail up. I'm going to cure it. So far, I am loving the way the tip of the nail is looking. It looks really clear while I'm encapsulating it. Once I finish smoothing that out, I did cure it for a minute in my UV LED light. And here is how this side profile is looking so far. As you can see, the apex area is a little bit higher than the rest of the nail. So I am going to go back in and do another layer just to kind of build up the apex area a little bit more and add evenness to the entire nail. And using the pat motion, I'm just patting this polygel over where I need the polygel to be. I'm gonna smooth it out, make sure it's not on my skin, and I'm just gonna cure it. Repeat that over all of the nails, and I will be back to file. After repeating that over all of my French tip glitter nails, here is how the encapsulation looks. So far, the clear isn't looking too bad. I'm hoping it stays as clear as possible. Before I go into cure, I'm going to take a lint-free wipe and some 91 isopropyl alcohol to cleanse the nail before I go into a file, because I don't want the stickiness to clog my file. So now on to the filing part. First of all, I just want to say that if you are still here, thank you so much for watching so far this part in the video. But to file, I'm using my 8080 grit nail file from Pana, and these are my favorite files. I really love using the 80 grit because it cuts down more faster and it just leaves the nails so crisp. So how I like to file the nail, I start by going underneath the nail as you just saw, and that just kind of reshape and define the nail before getting into all of the other parts. So once I go underneath the nail on one side, I go like on the sides of the nail, and then once I do that, I go to the other side and repeat that same process. When I first started filing polygel nails, my nails used to come out so thick, but for some reason, y'all, I thought I was doing something. But like over the time, I realized that like the size of the nail, that can really take away from the shape. And just by overall looking at it, I would go in and file the sides, making it more narrow, when really all I needed to do is just file like this size, like the top side of the nail. Like this part here that I'm filing now, that is the part that needs to be cut down because it makes the nail look fat. Oh my gosh, I'm really hoping I'm making sense. I feel like I'm everywhere with this voiceover trying to explain. But yeah, I just go in and file the surface of the nails once I file the sides underneath. And then also with the file, I do go around the cuticle area. Sometimes I may use my nail drill. And then after that, I go in and file the free edge. And I'm just going to be filing the surface until the nail is exactly how I want it to be. I did do all of my filing with this 8080 grit file from Pana, with the exception of going around the cuticle area to seal that in and going underneath the nail to remove that product that was underneath the nail. After going over all of the nails and filing and reshaping, I am going to buff over the surface. I always forget to show this step, or sometimes I just forget to do it, so luckily I remembered this time. But yeah, here's how the nails are looking. I buffed them and I'm just going to wipe away the dust so I can go in with my Bling application, and this is the part I'm so excited for. So here's what I have picked out to add my bling. These red rhinestones are from the Baby Girl Nails and Your Nail Lab collaboration, as well as these little diamond charms. Like, these are just so pretty. It has a red gem in the middle surrounded by smaller clear rhinestones, and they're just so pretty. And then also looking through my things, I did pull out these red cherry charms. I'm not sure what this is going to look like on these nails because they don't really have like any specific theme, or I don't know how I'll incorporate these cherry charms into this nail set, but we are gonna make it work. For the next portion of the video, I did put on some gloves because I'm going to be using my makartt rhinestone glue, and I'm not sure how this happened, but it does have like a hole, so once I squeeze this out, it does get everywhere, and I don't want this to be sticky on my hands. And then to apply my rhinestones, I do have my crystal picker tool. Before I add the rhinestones, I'm gonna go over the entire nail with the top coat first and cure it, because it's just easier to top coat the nail first instead of trying to add the charms and rhinestones and then trying to go around them. So I'm just gonna be doing an even layer with this top coat. The top coat did feel a little bit runny compared to the base coat. The base coat was really thick. I really love the base coat, but it did work really good. So that's the only thing I would have to say negative. Well, not even negative, just like personal preferences. I prefer thicker top coats to really ensure that the nails are sealed in, especially when you have like stickers or nail art. But once I finish adding on the top coat, I'm gonna cure and then go in with my rhinestones. So once again, I just want to say, if you are still watching, I want to say thank you so much for continuing to watch the video. But for my rhinestone design, this is inspired by the none other Vanity Val. I really love her extraness and the way she applies her rhinestones and gems. It's just so over the top and so cute. So of course I had to do a border nail. And to start that off, I'm just applying my rhinestone glue all the way around the border of my nail. And I'm only applying a little bit because I don't want this to be too messy. And I'm just squeezing ever so slightly, and the rhinestone glue is just spilling from the sides. It was so messy. It's a good thing I put these gloves on because I hate the sticky feel of like gel, like base gel. Anything sticky to my nail is just so annoying. I'm just going to start putting these rhinestones on. I am going to speed this up because it took entirely too long, but the entire process was just so satisfying to watch. I did leave all of it in. I just sped it up quite a bit. This process would have been a lot easier if I worked in sections, did some here, then cured it in place. Instead, I did the entire thing without curing. I did have to go back in and fix rhinestones, like straighten them up because they were sliding to the edge. But other than that, I just make sure these are straight, and I'm just going to be applying the rhinestones around the entire border. Once again, thank you so much for watching if you are still watching, and if you haven't liked the video already, make sure to go ahead and like, and if you aren't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. And thank you guys so much. I'm just going to let this part play out, and then I will be adding more rhinestones in the center of the nail. After finishing off the border, guys, this is what the border is looking like, and it looks so pretty. Like, honestly, I could just keep it just like this, but since this is Vanity Val inspired, of course we have to go above and beyond with this nail set. So I did go ahead and cure these on, and now I'm adding more of the rhinestone glue in the center all the way down my nail. For the rhinestone placement, I honestly just winged it. I didn't look at one of her particular designs, but she does this like layout a lot, and I find them really pretty. So I did just try to kind of mimic from what I've like seen her do or whatever. But yeah, I'm just going to be adding some of these rhinestones, just winging it, adding some rhinestones and charms all the way down the nail. And honestly, I think it turned out really cute. So I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy this process, and I will give a close-up once I'm done. Yeah, I also did take some of the I took one of the rhinestones from the Natalie Carmona and the Your Nail Art Box collaboration, just to kind of tie in like the clear look from the charm that was included in the Baby Girl Nails box. This is the finished layout for the bling nail. I did have to go off camera just to straighten them up and get them lined up, make sure they are completely straight, and I went ahead and cured them. This is how it turned out. So pretty. I absolutely love this. I will be doing more nails like this in the future because I really love the way it looks. And if you haven't checked out Vanity Val's channel, I will leave her channel down below, and when I post these on Instagram as well, I will be tagging her in the pictures. Please make sure to go follow her. Like, she does such amazing work with nails, super long nails. If you love extra nails, you will really love her channel. So if you are interested in checking out her channel, make sure to look in the description box. Oh yeah, and also while on the topic of this bling queen, Vanity Val, make sure to go check out her merch. I did purchase a crew neck sweater from her, and it is so comfortable. It says bougie friend on it, and I just absolutely love it. I wear it all the time when doing my nails since I purchased it, and you will see it at the end. So the sleeve, the black sleeve that you see, that is the sweater. It was a little bit dusty because I did have to file my nails, of course. So yeah, if anything that I just mentioned interests you, from her style to her channel, Instagram, make sure to check the description box below because I will be linking her information down there. After finishing up the rhinestones for my thumbnail, this is how it is looking. I did go ahead and cure it, so I didn't have any rhinestones sliding out of place. But now I'm going to move on to the other nails. So I'm taking the top coat and I'm going to be going over the other French tip nails. And since there's like glitter French tip on these nails, I wasn't going to do much. But once I finished adding the top coat and I cured, they did look a little bit plain compared to the other bling nails. So I will go back in and add 2 rhinestones at the cuticle area. And as you can see, like the tip of these nails are looking literally white. I did forget to wipe the dust from underneath the nail. Somewhere later in the video, I did go in and wipe that away with some alcohol, and then eventually I will be top coating the underside as well. I'm just gonna let the last few parts of this nail set play out for you guys, and then I will come back to show you the finished look. Wiping underneath the nail did help a little bit. As you can see, like as I'm wiping it, it does become a little bit more clear. But we aren't done yet. I will be top coating the underside. So once I finish wiping the dust from underneath the nail, I'm going to top coat and cure. After curing underneath the nail, guys, this is how it looked. I did go ahead and add some cuticle oil off camera. I'm literally so obsessed with this nail set. Like, it just looks so pretty. I really love the bling nail, like the glitter ombre, like everything just looks so nice. I would say I do have to work on my smile lines when I'm doing French tips a little bit more, but from a distance you can barely even tell there's imperfections. So here's a closer look of the tips. I wanted to test out the clear, so that was kind of my main focus. They still look a little bit foggy, of course. I think I may have still encapsulated some of the dust with the top coat, but that is okay. Like, you can clearly tell that this is a glitter ombre fading into a clear. And here's another angle of that bling nail. So pretty. On a scale from 1 to 10, if I had to rate this kit, I would give it a 9.8, only because the clear wasn't as clear as I would like to, and the base coat is a little bit runny. But if you are interested in checking out this kit, I will leave everything down below for you guys to check out. If I have any discount codes, it will also be linked. Thank you guys for watching so much. This is one of my longer videos, and I keep saying that, but I just want to say that I really appreciate all of you guys who stick to the end of all of my videos to watch. But with that being said, comment down below what you guys thought of this nail set, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.